Good. Okay, so every single time a person asks me or usually complains to me about why I think they're not getting views on their YouTube videos, once I ask them a few questions and take a quick glance at their channel, it is almost always the same thing. You ready for it? Fear of posting videos. There's just simply either not enough or any videos on their channel. And whether that's, fear of expressing your art online, whatever you want to call it, I think when you break it down to its simplest form, it's basically fear of expressing yourself. Whether that is fear of expressing your personalities and your thoughts and your feelings, or if it's just fear of feeling judged because of your looks or personality, which, speaking of looks, good. Okay, so why did I make that weird face and horrific sound at the beginning of this video? I did it to prove a point, I guess. I definitely didn't do it to grab your attention or hook the viewer. All those things are very important, and it's something that the top YouTube creators have mastered, and I'm actually going to be doing a deep dive on a couple YouTubers in the future and how they specifically do that, but that's for a later video. For right now, I basically did it to prove a point. So the reason I made that stupid face and that weird sound, because trust me, I can sing, it is honestly because I wanted to be as vulnerable with you as possible, as quickly as possible, because everyone, and myself included, everyone is afraid of being judged. But I honestly believe that sharing your vulnerability is the only way to truly feel secure. And that's why I put that part up at the very, very beginning, as early as I could into the video, so I was assured that the majority of people who clicked on this video and saw at least the first few seconds of it, that they got to see me at my most vulnerable state. Now, I'm sure that there was a good percentage of people that saw that and only that and then clicked out and left, and that's okay. Look, nobody wants to be judged by anybody, okay? Especially this guy. Is it my shirt? But if you really want to do this, and I don't think you'd be watching this video anymore if you didn't want to do this, there are just some things that you're going to have to accept, like handling hate comments, how to deal with negative criticism, and more importantly, how to stop feeling like you're not good enough. Now, there is a lot to unpack in all those, and some of those are definitely topics for future videos, which we'll probably get into later. But the first step in fixing a problem is admitting you have one. So we really need to figure out what you're afraid of so we can start figuring out how to handle it. And if you're watching this and you still don't think that fear has nothing to do with why you're not getting views, let me ask you this. Have you ever thought to yourself, or even told someone else, that the reason you're not getting more views or getting any views at all if you haven't even started yet is for any of the following reasons? My equipment's cheap, or it's low quality, it's no good. It's too late for me, man. It's way too late. I tried once, but it just didn't work, so I'm over it. I'm not talented enough, smart enough, or good looking enough. I just don't have any time. I don't know what to talk about. I'm not an expert in anything. My niche is just way too saturated. I'm just not ready yet, okay? I'm trying to still figure things out first. I'm too young, too old, too fat, too thin. I could go on. As a matter of fact, if I missed your reason or excuse, go ahead and put it in the comment section below. I really want to know what it is. The truth is, none of those reasons are true, okay? The real reason is fear. That's it. You can go now. Please don't go. I don't want to be alone. And believe me, I get it. I did stand up for over 10 years, and it is scary. You're up there all alone, saying things you think are funny, that's sharing a side of you, and if they don't laugh, you don't feel like, oh, they didn't like that joke. No. You feel like, oh, they don't like me. It is a very hard thing to do well and be confident at in the beginning. But the more that you do it, the better you get and the more confidence you build as well. And I've met so many people that wanted to try stand-up and either never did, or they only went up maybe once or twice and then they never tried it again. And the biggest reason or excuse that they gave time and time again, it's the same one I hear when someone wants to start their own YouTube channel. They procrastinate through seeking perfection, otherwise known as analysis paralysis. Now, this is an actual chart showing how seeking perfection stunts our growth. Low self-esteem or self-worth, sets high standards in an effort to improve self-esteem, unable to meet unrealistic standards, leading to failure and further low self-esteem. It's basically a self-fulfilling prophecy, and this one is used the most because it hides the truth so well. Because it makes you look so busy, so people assume you're working on it and eventually will do it until you don't. Or worse yet, you try for a little, but then you quit. Look at some of these quotes about seeking perfection, okay? Perfectionism is the mother of procrastination. Progress is more important than perfection. I believe in this one so much, and here's why. Years ago, I was in a mastermind with a couple of guys who were both very successful entrepreneurs, both of them worth millions of dollars, both very smart, and I got to sit down with them and ask them questions. One of the questions I asked them, which was really good, and I put it in my phone here, was, what's your biggest piece of advice to anyone trying to be successful in anything? And their answer was so good, I kept it in my phone. They said, don't seek perfection. Focus on making progress each and every day, and if you do that for enough days in a row, without stopping, eventually you'll accidentally become successful. And I've really tried to instill that with my videos here. Like, look, this video may stink, okay? And the next 20 videos I put out may be horrible. I hope not, but that might happen. But what I do know is there is no way I'm going to get better if I don't try. I will learn from what works, and I will learn even more by what doesn't work. Hey, look, I could analyze all the free advice on YouTube, and I could take courses from all the top creators on the platform. You know, I could even go out and hire a YouTube expert, and I still would not get as much out of it as if I tried, failed, adjusted, and then repeated until successful. The truth of the matter is the majority of people on YouTube that you know of that have successful channels started out not getting a lot of views, if any. They struggled in the beginning to get views. And yes, there's always an exception to the rule. I get it. And yes, if you had started 15 years ago or even 10 years ago, heck, 5 years ago, you would have a lot more views on your channel now because there was a lot less competition then. So it was a lot easier for people to find your videos. I fully get it. I understand. But if that's going to be your excuse for not trying, please let me remind you that there are a lot of YouTube creators that started in just the last 1 to 3 years who are now making a full-time income being a YouTuber. They didn't let the fact that they started late stop them, so why should you? Now let's quickly address some of the excuses I mentioned earlier that stops people from posting more or at all. And we already addressed one of the biggest ones, which is procrastination through seeking perfection. So let's look at some other common ones. Cheap or low quality equipment. Mr. Beast has said in multiple interviews that he got his first 100,000 subscribers with an iPhone, so it's too late. Well, if we look at Janelle Eliana's page, her first video was posted on June 26, 2019. 30 months later, has 2.46 million subs with only 33 videos. So she wasn't too late. Not talented enough, smart enough, or good looking enough. Check, check, and check. But I'm still doing it. I just don't have any time. Well, as Gary Vee would always say, document, don't create, okay? If you don't have time to create content because you're busy with other stuff, then film that other stuff. I don't know what to talk about. Well, what do you like to do for fun? What's your occupation? What are you really knowledgeable about? There, I just gave you 3 areas where you can expand and do videos about. Go. I'm not an expert at anything. You know that mastermind I was telling you about? Well, a lot of people, myself included, all felt the same way. We had what we call imposter syndrome, okay? Which is, who are we to teach anyone anything? We're not experts. Now, those millionaires I mentioned earlier would always tell all of us the same thing that felt this way in the mastermind, the same thing. If you know even a little bit more than the person you're teaching, you're qualified to teach them. To be qualified to teach somebody something, you don't have to know everything. You just have to know more than they do. And the last excuse for today, which is my niche is too saturated. Well, you're in luck because I actually go into a deep dive on how to lower competition if you're going into a really saturated niche in this video right here. So be sure to check it out.